Hello everybody, it's March 20th, 2025 and my dad and I are at Portland Union Station waiting to board Amtrak's eastbound Empire Builder Train 28 to Chicago. Currently though, we're waiting for boarding to begin and a Union Pacific train is passing through the station. Unipac has trackage rights with the BNSF north of Portland, which date back to when the line was owned by the Northern Pacific.
Stick it with you.
That's Charles.
Where are you heading?
Chicago.
Chicago!
Give me a sec.
Perfect. You taking the good pictures?
Yes.
Good. Wonderful. Go past the engine and then take a right.
Alright. Boarding has now begun, and over there is another Cascades train, likely either already arrived or is about to head south to Eugene. Our train is going to be led by a Siemens-built ALC-42. Honestly, if you told me 10 years ago that Amtrak trains would start to be led by locomotives built by the same company who made Denver's light rail fleet, I'd have struggled to believe you. Anyway, since it's a cross-country journey, we're gonna be in the last car, which is a sleeper. The Portland section would have normally been 5 cars long, but since we don't talk about that here, they have often been 4 cars long at least. And that's partially because a rollback in service to tri-weekly because of COVID resulted in cars being stored, and when daily service came back, Amtrak struggled to increase the car counts on their long-distance trains, since a lot of superliners were sent to service and several maintenance workers had to be rehired and retrained. To add insult to injury, CN began making Amtrak put 7 superliners on 2 trains in Illinois, the Alini and Saluki, due to lack of shunt situations that result in railroad crossings not activating. How in the name of the Southern Pacific can a railroad crossing not activate because a train doesn't have a specific amount of axles? But there is good news. The Empire Builder and other Amtrak trains are recovering their cars as more superliners come back online, and Amtrak has received a grant to install shunt enhancing devices on its locomotives and cab cars. I'm gonna be in room 3, while Dad will be in room 6, so that we both will have opportunities to see both sides of the train without having to go to the lounge. We would have booked a room right next to one another, but unfortunately, we weren't able to do so. At 4:45 p.m., we depart Portland, bound for the Windy City. It will be at least a 48-hour journey from here to Chicago, not counting time zone changes.
is Terrence, your supercar attendant in 2830. Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you want any non-alcohol or alcohol beverage, you get that complimentary out of the cafe car. So once she's opened up, you get your non-alcohol or alcohol beverage complimentary out of the cafe car. Just make sure you show your ticket that shows you in the 2830. Thank you.
That over there is Terry, and he'll be our attendant for the entire 2,257-mile journey. I came to the back of the car to film the train while it was leaving Portland. For some reason, this car had a weird noise that is probably giving somebody tinnitus right now. We are now crossing the Willamette River. Since there's significant ship traffic going into Portland, this bridge was actually a lift bridge, which has been around since the days of the MP and the SPNS.
Good. Good. Welcome aboard. You got any questions for me?
No,
Not really? All right. I'm your attendant, Terrence. Welcome aboard. Pleasure having you. I have a shrimp and noodle. I have a chicken and butternut or roast beef.
Roast beef, please.
All right. There you go. Enjoy, okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right. If you need me, let me know.
Alright.
All right.
Since our train wouldn't gain the dining car until Spokane, our dinner would be a boxed one. I had the roast beef for dinner. The trackage of the Union Pacific merges into the trackage with the BNSF just before the Columbia River. Over there are some of Portland's floating homes.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming up after this next bridge is our next station stop, Vancouver, Washington. The stop in Vancouver will be for Vancouver passengers only. We ask everyone else please remain on the train. Thank you. Vancouver up next.
We are now crossing the Columbia River. This waterway is very significant for the economy of the PNW, as major ships and even barges go as far up the river as Pasco. Because of the boat traffic, many lift bridges were built, but so were many tall bridges like the Columbia River crossing in the background that serves the I-5. Currently, there are plans in the works to completely replace the bridge, as well as add a bridge for pedestrians and the max light rail. currently there are hopes to have shovels in the ground by the end of this year at the most optimistic viewpoint, but only time will tell if they manage to get construction going that soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we approach our next stop, it's very important. If you're sitting alone in your seat and you have items, personal items in the seat next to you or luggage, it's important that you move those items out of that seat. We have people joining us at each stop and they need a place to sit. And if you want to take up 2 seats, I got to charge you for 2. So it's very important you move those items before I come through, otherwise I have to charge you.
We're now in Vancouver, Washington. Unlike most stations, this station is located inside a Y. This station also has 2 platforms serving 2 different subdivisions. The Fallbridge sub, which we're gonna go on that the Empire Builder travels on, and the Seattle sub, which the Coast Starlight and Cascades follow until DuPont, where they briefly break off from the Seattle sub to go onto the Lakeview sub, aka the Point Defiance bypass to Tacoma, before rejoining the sub after Tacoma to go to Seattle.
A little dirty, but
Yeah. I feel like a lot of crews at the end of the line focus more on the windows on the sides than these windows.
looks like it.
We have now departed Vancouver and are gonna head up the Columbia River Gorge again, this time on the Washington side.
Throughout the train, a friendly reminder for those of you who've been with us. We ask that there's no smoking or vaping allowed on the train of any kind. Consuming of personal alcohol is prohibited. However, when the cafe opens, you may purchase it.
Sunday 247.
21 years of age or older with valid ID.
So we're up that train.
Listening to music or watching any sort of media.
2160.
We ask that you take phone calls in private in the observation car or down in the vestibule. One more rule: if you're walking around the train, please make sure you're wearing shoes for your safety. For other safety information, that can be found in the seat back pocket in front of you with your safety pamphlet.
We pass a unit grain train. These types of trains are very common along the BNSF.
You know that, right?
I then chose to head to the front of the train, which is the observation car.
Sería mentiroso en decirle de que tengo alguien que donde vaya a trabajar, la verdad pues le digo porque
Did they take it off or did you get it on the car?
We stopped to let 2 freight trains go by. Although Amtrak by law has the right-of-way, most of this line is still single-tracked, so we had to wait in the hole until the 2 trains passed. Hey, my dad and I were on the other side of the river over there. And it was a pretty nice day when we went to the Columbia River.
We have stopped a little bit of freight traffic clearing up in front of us. We'll be here for 2 trains and then on our way.
For what?
Huh?
We'll be here for what?
2 trains.
2 trains are going by. Yeah, they only have single track through most of the Gorge.
Well, at least one.
That's one.
Well, at least one of the 2 is going by. Fortunately, we didn't have to wait that long for the first train to pass by.
That's perfect.
Are you a train guy?
Yes, I am.
All right. How did you become a train guy?
Oh no, it's just been in me as long as I can remember.
Well, I grew up in Chicago, and we were surrounded by trains.
I know Chicago is basically America, if not North America's rail capital.
It's like the rail hub. Yeah. It's like Atlanta is the air hub for southeastern U.S. Chicago is the rail hub for the Do you like that?
Yeah. I got it when I went on my first trip to Chicago. I took the California Zephyr from Denver to Chicago and back.
Wow.
So that's the first time I've ever gone to a major city from my home city without needing to take a flight. Well, 1 down, 1 to go.
We'll see how long it takes. Have you ever taken the Southwest Chief?
Yes, I have.
Because that's the next one I want to do.
It's from Colorado to New Mexico. There are, or at least were, a lot of semaphores. Sadly, a lot of them have now been replaced by newer kinds of signals, and I think there are only a couple left. So, you know, those signals that have the arm that can go up like this or down like that to signal go, and this to signal stop.
Right. Okay. Right.
I've seen Thomas the Tank Engine.
I've heard that word, but I didn't know what it meant.
I also learned that from Train Town. It's a game I played as a kid.
When we were kids, were there any trees that were, when we were old, so the only train I remember from a kid was a kid's book. I think it was called the little engine that could.
Oh yeah.
I think I can.
When your feet are dragging on the ground, stand up and face whatever you're afraid of. When pandemonium is all around, as easy as the thing you're made of. If you can just believe it's true, then there's nothing you can't do. That's actually from a short animated adaptation of The Little Engine That Could from 1991.
Because I'm trying to remember, I mean, the little engine that could was that when we were kids, or when it was when my younger brother was a kid.
So when Nick was like.
Fortunately, we also didn't have to wait long for this grain train to come either. Those are what they'd call unit grain.
Voy a hacer eso.
Well, hopefully the switch will be set for us pretty soon and we'll be off.
No, I think when I shaved, I think I sometimes run the razor. I run the razor over my nose because I have some hair growth. And that particular blade that I
We're now out of the hole, and our next stop will be Bingen-White Salmon.
I was impatient and they didn't lather it up enough, so I didn't get enough oil. My training night, the waterfalls really going. A lot of water. Where half of the car seats like this and the other half is like tables.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's up there. They have tables.
Oh, yeah.
On the other side of the river, there's a train on the Union Pacific headed westbound.
I can't wait till our goes in the backyard.
So when that
Hey, there are quite a couple of waterfalls over there.
So I think that could be more trees over here. And it's not long enough. So, over the other yard. There is a place at the gas that's called the St. Claude Accessible Trail parking. There's an accessible trail at St. Claude.
but they may take their own time better. This is Wi-Fi available.
There is Wi-Fi?
It says it is, but I don't know. Maybe that, you know.
There you go. What I want to do is we haven't gotten people through yet. Look at the elk.
Oh my goodness.
Elk.
Wow.
Wow.
I've never seen elk down this far.
Wow.
Your biggest danger is climbing the hill. It's also the trash.
I look old and angry. My hair looks good. I've got my glasses. Let's take those out.
You're my wife. I can't on dinner recording. Okay, so this is this on the left here. That's the alley.
Yeah, we're near
That's
Bonneville.
Eagle Creek.
Hey, I think we may be nearing the dam that's near the Dallies.
Yeah, the Bonneville
Bonneville,
Dam is
yeah.
coming up. And then there's the Dalles Dam after that. And I guess, yeah, I think we see the Dalles Dam.
Okay, we got, oh yeah, Bonneville Dam.
Over there is the Bonneville Dam. It provides hydroelectric power and has 2 ship locks on the Oregon side. We're now passing a siding with some stored lumber cars.
There's a lot more new snow up high.
Yeah, look at that.
There's Cascade Log. So when I did my training hikes, I was going right across there, where all the way into Cascade Log.
So, code only requires one. But for an extra $60 and a little bit of labor, for one meter base, one. So you get 3 size.
We pass by a westbound manifest and what I presume to be SD70 Maze 9767 and H1-9 962. We're passing by what I presume to be a garbage train. These garbage trains are pretty common on BNSS Fallbridge sub.
It looks like that train looks like it's a trash train.
They don't advocate it.
You know how to figure the volume. Then you got to put it over. You have no way to handle it.
There used to be an Amtrak train that went
Yeah, called the Pioneer.
Pioneer. I've taken it a long, long time ago. I took it. That was a nice route.
Over there is Hood River.
Sure it was.
And that there is the Hood River Bridge. It is also a lift bridge, just like the Oregon Trunk Bridge that's coming up. We have arrived at our first stop at Bingen-White Salmon. This stop serves the two towns of Bingen, Washington and White Salmon, Washington. They're both across the river from Hood River. We've passed Bingen-White Salmon and now it is on to Wishram, Washington. We're passing by a coal train. Coal has been with the railroads for pretty much forever, even though nowadays the railroads are trying to move away from having to completely rely on coal for their revenue and traffic.
Always
lot of stuff listed that aren't Mandarin, red pepper, broccoli, teriyaki sauce. Well, I mean, there's regular restaurants, and I think there is a shower. I think he said there is a shower though.
Well, is it in the coach?
We had our dog photo shoot.
Sink area.
You mean the restaurant in our car down the hall?
Yeah. So maybe downstairs.
Yeah, you gotta go down and check it out. I don't remember. I mean, when I used the Willamette, but I think on the train, the last time I was at the train, sleeping car, the shower, I think they were using the shower as like a storage. I don't know if the shower is working. When I took the train to Washington State in 2019, there was, and I had the bedroom, just the same thing, but they had not done any refurbishing. And there was duct tape holding the wall panels. And it's really sad. They've done.
It's a very uncomfortable situation.
That over there is the Oregon Trunk Bridge. This bridge was originally built by the Oregon Trunk Railroad in 1912. However, the lift section was only added in 1957 because of the Dalles Dam.
There's some bridge that I drove across. Oh no,
We have now made it to Wishram, Washington. Over there is Great Northern 2507, one of only a handful of 482 mountain types preserved in America. 2507 was built in 1923 by Baldwin and once pulled the Empire Builder. She had an accident in 1948 with the mail train, but continued in service until the 50s when she was preserved. In the 90s, she was moved in the hopes that she would be restored to operation, but this ultimately never happened. She is now on display in Wishram.
and it's also
Right, it's a highway. Interstate 82. This is Highway 97. well, so you poured the rest?
Yeah.
We're now passing the John Day Dam, another dam that also provides hydroelectric power. It's nighttime now, but soon enough we'll be approaching Pasco, Washington.
Guess we're in Pasco now.
Although it's incredibly dark out, we're likely now crossing over a bridge that leads into Pasco.
I think we're crossing the Columbia River. Oh my god, that's another sandfield. It's really hard to see, but hey, that's a fake bonnet. 4301.
We are now at Pasco, one of the first major stops along the Empire Builder and the first smoking stop, at least on the Portland section.
We wish we had more runs and more we could do.
We had a conversation while we were stopped, and I also couldn't help but notice that quite a couple of people got off the train here. This makes me believe that 1 or 2 round trips from Spokane to Portland could easily be justifiable, especially since Washington State also has major support for trains.
I consider these long distance trains national treasure.
Yes.
No different than a national park.
And a lot of places that we go, most airlines don't. There's no way to get in and out of them. And some of the Greyhounds don't even go in them. So.
Oh yeah, Greyhound's really limited now.
Yeah.
It's pretty much
Yeah. So then you've got nowhere people can get into these communities.
Yeah.
As a side note, I think that whole privatization thing is now dead once again because the guy who suggested it is no longer part of the government.
Privatize. That's what Elon Musk want to privatize Amtrak.
Good luck.
Good luck with tempting that.
They already made the CEO
If everybody
resign.
knew how much
Going to Spokane? Yeah. Yeah, it would be that next car upstairs.
airlines.
Do you think that Roger Harris will take over?
Well, you don't know. I'd just like to see somebody like that.
That's what you need to talk to. Okay.
Why don't you look over
I heard you have a YouTube page.
I do.
What is it called, Harris?
Harrison of Colorado.
They'll be waiting. Yep,
Okay, thank you.
We are now departing Pasco, and I have settled back into my room. an angel of God, angel of God, I'll follow your command, but I will fight and I will stand. Yes, Dad?
Yeah, what are you doing? Hi, I'm your dad. How are you?
Hey, Dad, how are you?
I'm Dad Peter.
Hi, Dad Peter.
Hi, Dad Peter. What are you recording out there? You're using a lot of battery. Is it okay?
Yeah. Just tried to record whatever
Were
later.
you able to charge in the other car?
By this point, it was
So,
dark
you
and
had
I
nothing
was
to do
tired,
with the smart
and so
idea.
I decided to finish recording for the day. But the next day, we would be in Glacier National Park. We're now in western Montana and about to head into Glacier National Park.
And now arriving in Whitefish, Montana. As stated, you can get off, get a breath of fresh air, have some quick smoke break. Please do not wander off. And when you get overboard, please step back in the train immediately so we depart.
Since it's still quiet time, the announcements are a lot more quieter compared to during the daytime. We have now arrived at Whitefish. By the way, the building in front of us is not the station. We are now departing Whitefish. Whitefish is the busiest station in Montana, at least unless the North Coast Hiawatha comes back into operation in the future, and has a structure that's almost 100 years old as of the making of this video. Our next stop will be Columbia Falls.
We're going to be making our way through the train here at as soon as we make our way. Out of Whitefish here, we'll be making our way through the train. Scanning tickets, please have them out. Have the ticket jackets ready for collection. They're on your phones, have them up on the screen ready for collection. We'll be through as soon as we depart here, so please have them ready for scanning. If you've gone to the lounge, please return to your seats so we can scan your tickets. It is for safety and security reasons. Once again, if you have gone to the lounge, please return to your seats so we can scan your tickets. Again, that is for safety and security. Thank you.
What do you see over there?
A lot. I saw a river.
I mean, there's just like great, incredible snowy views here.
Nice.
I then went to
Yes.
my dad's room, and man, did he have an amazing view of the scenery.
Remember when you're on a train, you know, try to spread your channel a little bit. I mean, you might even want to have like little cards to hand out sometime.
All right. $56.70. Also H2 GFO.
What does that just mean? What you just said?
A lot of real fans know.
Look. Can I, as your dad, can I know this one time?
H2 is a type of paint scheme that BNSF has.
Okay.
And a GEVO is a type of locomotive.
Gotcha.
This is a nickname of a locomotive type built by General Electric, now Wabtec.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Oh, this is that quick stop in West Glacier.
Probably.
I heard him say it. I listened. I ate most of my snacks last night. I didn't eat enough yesterday, and then we got on the plane and they gave us that little sandwich. I should have asked for another sandwich. I was hungry.
When do you want to head to the dining car?
Hey, whenever you're ready. Yeah, but I mean, but I don't want to. You know, force your hand. But I can eat whenever. I'm getting some work messages. I don't really want to look at them, but I'm not going to do any work. Just look at messages.
Hey, that train's moving.
I was going to say, what the heck? Due to increased number of defects. Where's that message?
Increase what?
Number of defects. I'm trying to look for where he asked me for that. It's like I got a message, but I didn't get a message. In my, you know how you can, oh, forget it, that's right.
Oh, we're rolling again.
12 minutes ago. I don't understand why I can't get, do you have Wi-Fi in this plane, Harrison? In that other room?
No, I didn't check. No, I don't think so.
There is an Amtrak Wi-Fi, it's just like rarely. Look at that. Blue water, green water. Get out of here. Green water. Green water. That's amazing. What a scene. I'm glad I called you over.
Thanks.
Oh, look how pretty that is. That freaking water is so green.
Absolutely.
It's like the beach. It's like if the sand, if the snow were sand, and it were possible to have pine trees coming out of sand, that's what it would be like. This is worth the whole trip. This is incredible.
Absolutely.
I'll miss breakfast if this keeps going. They built a train through this. I mean a track, train line.
You know, when this line was built, many people thought that building a train line through the Rockies was nearly impossible.
It was true madness.
And I believe that they actually, and I believe when James J. Hill built this route, this part was actually nicknamed Hill's Folly.
Hold on one second.
That wasn't the Flathead Tunnel.
I mean, this will be a major hit on your channel, I think. I would capture as much of this as you possibly can. That's my personal opinion. Morning. so peaceful, so full of natural beauty. Log cabins out here. What an amazing place to be. I gotta come out here. Oh, look at that. That lake, cabin on that lake. Gorgeous. Well, that's not a lake.
More like a field.
Field, yeah, but it was like too smooth to be a field for a second.
I then decided to go to the dining car to get Dad and I a seat for breakfast. Remember the previous day when the front of the lounge car was blocked? Well, when we were in Spokane, we merged with the Seattle section of the train, and now we are one train heading all the way to Chicago.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry.
Hey, so a bit of spoilers, but we were able to have a conversation with the man in the Vietnam veteran hat. I got to the dining car, however I confused the dining car attendant, Zach, at first. But after some explaining, I was able to tell him that we were sleeping car passengers, and I was able to get a seat on the left side of the train to watch the scenery go by while we were eating anyways.
We're right through the park. Best view.
In addition, there were two other people joining us for breakfast, Holly and Dante.
Have you been on this line before?
No. This is my first time on this line.
Us too.
Where are you going?
I'm going all the way to Chicago.
We're getting off in Fargo in the middle of the night. So you at least get to sleep all night until we get to Chicago.
Yeah.
No, sir, I have none. That's why I work for him.
That's the place where the movie Fargo.
We didn't bring any Tabasco sauce this morning.
At least where it started.
Thank you very much, folks.
And the rest of it actually happened in Minnesota.
Oh.
I'll take your strawberries. So where are you coming from?
I'm actually originally from Denver.
Okay. And when did you get on the train though for it?
I got on at Portland.
Oh, so you're doing the whole stretch across to Chicago. That's a long trip.
Yes.
water master.
Exchange for all your strawberries. Is that French toast?
Thank you, sir. I saw some elk yesterday while on the Portland section.
Oh, really?
Yes.
This morning about 50 minutes ago, there was a herd of about 10 laying down next to the river, just hanging out for the morning, it looked like.
They've got reporters in on diners and what do you get here?
Thinking the 3-day home.
That's on the new engine.
Did they hire him for the voice? He has the conductor. I'm trying to contain all my stuff.
Oh, yeah. More coffee?
But the coffee is good.
Absolutely.
At least mine was good.
Where do you all live?
Fargo. So we had to
Back home?
We've been at Whitefish.
We were skiing in Whitefish for a few days. Very nice, very nice. It snowed practically every day for an hour or two, so there was always a nice fresh snow.
It's kind of a little ego coating on top that helps you do all the dirt.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. What about you?
So I am his father. We live in Denver. Thank you. Sorry. And he's a train fan. He's got a YouTube page with all his thousands of videos.
Wow.
And he's on spring break from college, so we went on a little trip.
Gotta go on the train.
Yeah. 2 more.
So when's the...
So this is the first time on this stretch.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you've done this stretch a bunch?
No, we've never done this
This
one.
is amazing.
Yeah.
As
No,
far
we've
as this
done
morning
Fargo
is
to
concerned,
Chicago, and
I
then
would say
we've
so.
many times.
And frankly, it doesn't
back.
really matter. I always
I'll be recommending this to a lot of people.
Yeah, this is amazing, and it's
The timing is key too.
the stretches, all this, like you can only see it from the train. There is no other access.
A couple of the roads, but no way up and go back.
Yeah.
So I'm like, look, that's what I was telling him. He's capturing video on it, and he likes to do like, I'm like, get as much as you can of this section. It's just totally unique.
For that series, if there's something in particular,
Yeah, we're right in Glacier National Park right now.
do all that because
What's the name of your date?
Harrison of Colorado.
You know?
The date?
Yes.
Yeah.
How many times have you done this route? Is your page all about trains?
It's mostly all about trains, for the most part.
Like 10% about gaming stuff. And
I know this is an
other stuff.
estimate because I work about 35 a year.
Yeah, I mean,
so
he's got some train rides in Europe.
Absolutely.
That have thousands of
Based out of
views.
Seattle, go to Chicago. Like, there ain't nobody else out here.
And he's got some really popular stuff out there.
What are the lunchtime hours?
And,
Too long.
And 5,000 subscribers.
I will definitely be open at noon.
Yesterday.
Wow!
I have to review the exact numbers.
Switching on.
Might be 11:30, but it'll definitely
A
be
few
noon.
times.
Yes.
And the real challenge is going to be listening, hearing it on the PA, whether your PA actually works.
But you know, I mean, obviously other countries have some great rail too, right? So, I'm gonna steal your spoon, bro.
Right. Generally, it's.
So what are you studying in college?
I'm studying history.
With my announcements.
Trains?
I will make an opening announcement. I'll make a second call. I'll make the last call.
Where possible.
About it.
Yeah?
Yeah, it does come up wherever possible. One of my history professors is also a rail fan.
I love Mike. Mike is, I would say, Mike's the best chef.
Yes.
I was comforted to find that out the first day of class or something.
Well, I'm sure he's excited to have a student who's excited about trains.
Exactly. It's a loving community.
A friend of mine from college is a rail fanatic too, but he collects model trains, so he knows all of them.
Yeah, all of them.
All the models.
Gentlemen,
Yes.
ready for it.
These incredible models. I
Oh,
like
they're
looking at
incredible, yeah.
We are now arriving at Essex. Over there is some stored older equipment, as well as the Santa Fe fake bonnet, and there's even some equipment for snow fighting.
It's a lot of
They
work.
have all the kits to electrify them,
And it's incredible the things that they've replicated in that tiny little universe. But it's a lot of work. And I'm just not into that.
Yeah, that tedious kind of work.
I mean, percussion. My brothers are, he's piano, my brothers are guitar, and my nephews are like, a couple good tunes on there. And if you go to his hit album, it's like songs 1, 3, and 5, I recommend.
Okay.
But yeah.
That's cool. And do you play just for fun?
I play for fun, yeah.
Okay.
In fact, whenever I've been offered money, I've passed it up just for that reason, because I just don't want it to become that. I mean, I'm not in that game, because that's a difficult game. I have another job, so I'd rather just stick with that. But, if I got a gig at this point, I'd probably take a little money, but, just for
the expense,
drinks and the trouble. But I just love the place.
Yeah, that's good. So are you percussionist like a drum bass or a percussion?
Mostly hand drums.
Okay.
I used to play a trap set. I can still play it, but not as well.
Yeah, I don't think
I'd rather touch my hands. But it's, I played, kind of started with Latin, but then I moved to African percussion.
Okay.
I studied in Africa a little bit, and actually I was trying to get a grant. I was a finalist for a grant, but I didn't get it. It was my dream of learning master drummers in West Africa. Because
look at this one.
That'd be amazing.
Look at this one. It's displayed beautiful.
It's a gift from God, this place. I can only imagine what your skiing was like looking at this.
It was quite good.
Yeah. I mean,
not the tallest at the mountain, but like 100 runs. Not bad. Very good.
Not bad. Where we're from, there's 0 mountains.
Not bad for me.
And the one little ski hill there has like 5 runs total. So that's pretty amazing to be out there with 100.
We went one afternoon, then I took a group class. Hey, I ended up being by myself with the kids and most of the things. So I actually had a full day personal coach. And that was great. And then the day after, skied again.
I used to teach skiing some years back. Copper Mountain and Steamboat.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
It is.
I'm going to tell you something. Just saying. I was going to tell you guys that my wife and I watch the movie Fargo. Probably 5-6 times a year. I mean,
what? Have you been to Fargo?
We love it though. Of course, if I went, I would of course go searching for the money. Just as a point.
Everyone does.
As a point.
Well, you can
Wait, searching for the what?
The money. The money that was hidden and never. Everybody died.
But when that scene when he looks over and there is the fence this way,
right? The fence that way. yeah. That's the beauty of it.
We do a lot of.
She was from Japan, and when they contacted her family to say, why is there a single person from Japan in the woods, you know? And the family said, oh, she was really obsessed with the movie Fargo. We think she went looking for the money. And then froze to death in the woods. Jeez. She got lost.
That's nothing would surprise me.
What? That was the crazy. I said, what? And they said, yeah, we didn't know where she went. She went missing. Nobody had heard from her until police called from America saying,
I wonder if the Coen brothers know that story.
They might do a sequel for the movie about that.
That's the international version.
That's way crazy.
It is.
But if you go to the Visitors Bureau in Fargo, the wood chipper from the movie is there.
And you can take a picture.
They have those little, you know, rabbit hats that they wear. And you can get your picture taken. There's a leg sticking out of it. And it's the actual one from the movie.
Oh, I may have to do that. I have to tell my wife about that.
It's really, you'd be like, wow, that's really black humor, but
thanks a lot.
they just embraced it.
Plastic, please. Oh, yes.
We had breakfast and now a westbound Z train is passing by. Z trains, or intermodal trains, are a major source of traffic on the BNSF. In fact, one of BNSF's predecessors, the Burlington Northern, created an expedited trailer service that ran from Chicago to Seattle in as little as 50 hours. And ATSF, the other railroad that created BNSF, would run train after train of piggyback and double-stack containers on its Chicago to LA line.
Remainder of the morning. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us.
Okay, let's go look at that.
You take care of the train.
Folks, you are next meal.
You're welcome, Doctor.
As it is. I would expect last call to come at, say, 1:15 this afternoon.
Right now, we're pretty full. That was really good.
Thank you, Zach. Yes, but they're not significant changes. I was able to get code 0 here.
All right.
Okay, you threw me for a loop there.
My grandmother would say, we're nothing if not precise.
Precisely. So is that part of the advertising?
4386.
With the Z train out of the way, it's now time for us to head on our way.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This message is coming from the Cafe car. Cafe will be closed in about 30 minutes for an employee break, so if you'd like to make a purchase, please make your way downstairs and center of the observation car. I will make an announcement when I open back up. Thank you. I've discovered it's a liquid form. I can have it for now. Nope. I know a lot of really good about that. Yeah. So we're still fixing. He said. Because they've been processed to get them out there. Whatever it is, it's probably a process out of it. But he also said that body can change. And he said also there's some of this process that's different. My favorite makes my tongue itch. Luckily, you know how it would. It hasn't gone further. But I think it's a sign that I might be able to help. What is it? Actually, floating my wallet. I think it's a green thing, too. But I'm not. But they recommend it. Every once in a while, I'll have food that will put my tummy. So you'll bring out water. It doesn't close me up. Just mixing it. And that cleared. You probably do have to.
First time being led by two ALC 42s.
The bus. So did you go through the whole bag and pick out all the ready for they had this ruler sitting in front of them. So I picked it up right there and I could tell there wasn't a particular like.
Two ALC-42 Chargers are leading this train now. Luckily, unlike 2023, the Chargers have been performing better compared to when they first entered service, and as far as I can tell, can handle at least this amount of snow and winter temperatures.
East Glacier Park. Guess that was a flag stop.
No, they only stop there in the summer. There's nothing up there. So they stop up there.
Oh.
I'm actually going to
We're now out of the mist, out of the clouds, and out of the mountains. So, it's time for us to gain a little bit more speed. We are now entering Cut Bank, Montana. This is another one of those small towns that Amtrak serves, and to some of these towns is the only connection to the outside world.
This can't be Shelby. Oh, we're in Cut Bank.
Great Northern Railway. Over there's the BNSF Sweetgrass subdivision. It goes from Shelby, Montana to the Canadian border, where the Canadian Pacific owns the line from the border. The line ultimately goes to Lethbridge, Alberta, and eventually Calgary, Alberta. This is Shelby, Montana, a bit of a railroad junction for the BNSF. BNSF also has a yard here for some trains, and lines branch out in all directions from Shelby.
Excuse me, how long is this station stop?
Well, we were here for almost 20 minutes, but you just now showing up. Now we got about 5 minutes.
Good. I'll just take a photo of the front of the train and head back. Huh?
Down with the board.
What?
Down the board.
Alright. I'll just get off at the,
Oh, wait a minute.
Didn't it say,
but you may not.
well, scratch that.
Next stop. Or the next long stop. In case you couldn't tell, I wanted to see the two ALC-42s up ahead, and I waited a bit too long, so I unfortunately did not get the chance. Luckily, our next stop has something old and special.
it's at 5621 or 5021.
It's at 5621. Luckily, with the freight train out of the way, now we can head back onto the main and get some speed. we pass a grain facility near where I presume to be Chester, Montana. Here at Joplin, Montana is unfortunately the site of a more recent tragic train accident. A westbound Empire Builder train was traveling through Joplin when it hit defective trackage and derailed, killing 3 people. Ironically, that crash occurred at the same sighting as a 1966 collision between the Empire Builder and the Great Northern's Western Star. Between Joplin and Guildford, the line briefly becomes a double-tracked main line.
6078.
That tanker train has BNSF 6078 on it, one of several 25th anniversary units that BNSF made for its 25th anniversary. I still wish they made actual heritage units though.
Good thing that big pockets.
Maybe we're in a slow order.
That over there is a branch line that goes to Big Sandy, Montana. It used to go all the way to Great Falls, but unfortunately, the line has since been cut into two, with the segment from Great Falls to Fort Benton still in service, while the section between Big Sandy and Havre is still in service. The line between Big Sandy and Fort Benton was torn up. Before we can make our station stop in Havre, though, a manifest passes by.
You too. Goodbye.
Finally, the manifest is out of the way enough for us to finally have a clear shot into Havre, Montana.
Are there slow orders through here, or...? That's probably... That's probably 20 miles per hour speed limit.
I said go ahead as I stepped forward.
Hey, how long is this stop? That lonely steam engine over there is Great Northern 2584. She was built in March of 1930 and worked on the GN for over 2 decades. Unfortunately, she was involved in a fatal accident on August 9th, 1945, when she was pulling the first section of the Empire Builder and the second section ran into the first, killing 34 people. Despite that, she was repaired and put back into service before being retired in December 1957 and donated to Havre in 1958. At one point, BN wanted to restore her to operation for a BN steam program, but they discovered that she had a 3-foot crack in her boiler, and those plans were ultimately canned. She's still on display at Havre, but who knows? Maybe someone or a group with enough expertise and money could restore her to operation.
There's a lot of history there.
We're departing Havre, and now we're at the dining car for lunch.
Same for me.
Excellent. And then, did we decide on brownies or butter cakes, folks?
Butter cakes all the way.
Nice. I like it.
Team butter cake. Brownie.
And then
Team brownie.
did anyone want? Did either one of us want a or cheese? Excuse me. Sorry.
Oh yes, I'll take Swiss.
Swiss. All right. And
Actually, what was it? Cheddar Swiss?
Yes.
I'll take cheddar. Sorry.
Not a problem.
Then give me Swiss.
Remember that.
Just to
Okay, fine.
just a little bit.
Fine, team buttercream.
I like it.
I don't know if you guys were here for the butter cake.
No, I'm intrigued. What is
So we have desserts that are unlisted on the menu.
Secret. Unlisted desserts.
Butter cake there. I will be with you eventually,
Comes
sir.
not recommended.
Sincerely appreciate your patience.
butter cake once, because I've had a million brownies in my life.
All right, there we go.
Team butter cake.
I love
on the
brownies,
aisle.
but you know.
You're gonna try something new. Did you want to?
I'll also have the butter cake.
Burger as well.
You
Swiss.
can go on your channel.
Is there any other side option or no?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Team butter cake.
And sir, for your lunch, what can I get for you?
Can I have a savory chili bowl, please?
Yes.
You know that's vegan, right?
Yes.
Would you like bacon, cheddar, all that good stuff?
Yes, all that good stuff.
Please.
Please.
Alrighty. And
Do you want to butter your meals?
take the menus out of your way. I did. I got 3 butter cakes and a brownie. Is that right?
I'll have. I said a butter cake.
Butter cake, right? Okay, I got you.
Please. Wow, that's 3 fake bonnets in 1 yard.
Fake
The last paint scheme that the Atchison, Topeka, and the Santa Fe Railway used was one of their passenger schemes that they used in the 30s to the 60s, and they were known as war bonnet paint schemes. So they brought the war bonnet back in the late 80s or early 90s. They kept that there until they merged with the Burlington Northern to form the BNSF.
All right, folks, the dining car is closed. We have concluded lunch service.
Because
If you're not already here,
several
thank you very much for joining us.
-9s that the BNSF ordered
Once again, at this time, the dining
used
car
that
has
war
concluded
bonnet
its lunch
scheme,
service
but
and is
claimed
closed for the remainder of the
but had
afternoon.
the
Thank you so much
letters
for joining us today,
BNSF
folks.
on them. And therefore, a lot of rail fans nicknamed them fake bonnets.
Pretty deep into the weeds there, as they say.
He's a history buff.
If you know that, you get it. During the World Cup, and he was killed in Colombia.
Like a day after he arrived.
The best, and he
For
was
doing that?
By the cartel.
He was one of the best to do that. He was actually under contract to come and play in Italy.
You're in charge, right? See?
Clearly, this is his day job. For me, Batman at night.
Exactly.
And so,
I don't get much sleep.
yeah. You're Batman at night and
Wonder how annoying it must be for Batman to have to to stay up all, have to be up all day and all night.
All day and all night. When does it sleep? Only naps. Tiny little naps. Before the bad signal comes
I just
out.
wanted to share with you that my wife's mom was kicked out by the FARC from their home, and they kicked them out. They told them they had 2 days to leave.
Oh my gosh.
They left. They watched them burn the home down.
I'm glad you said something about meals, because
Again,
like about 2 hours.
around near Cali, it's closer to Napa, I think. I'm not, but somewhere in the.
And what was her family's like?
Has not turned out too good, but anyway, when they did that, 60 Minutes ran a piece on how that occurred, and it was one of the most amazing news stories I've ever watched. And I also watched my wife and my grandma just fall apart in tears as they watched the story. And it was the creativeness with which they used marketing to turn the rebels around. They would drop soccer balls signed by soccer stars into the different guerrilla areas. They had their parents, write notes, and they would drop them, all over flyers, all over the place, right? They would send lamps down rivers with messages, right? With messages. I mean, Christmas time. It's just like constantly barraging them with messages, and they couldn't bear it. And it was just amazing. And
Trying to get that humanity back, just trying to remind them that
once you were a kid, and you did not have this, and it was just like it was amazing. And I've
really
never heard of anything like that before in my life.
Have you ever seen the movie Argo?
Yeah.
It kind of made you say like that
Well,
kind of.
Well, how they went in there with non-violence and got those guys out was incredible. I mean, it was genius.
That they were like making a movie, right? And the whole thing was made up.
I've seen that multiple times.
That kind of cleverness of like completely outside the box, but yet you'll never get completely within the human framework, right? That's how you just you got to remember that people are human, no matter how brutal or how upset they are. Right, they're trying to get to that very inner humanness.
All that depth. And then what do you remember most from the movie? Go fuck yourself. Right? I mean, that was the best line from the movie. Anyway.
Yeah.
No, but when they were in there trying to get past the Revolutionary Guards, that was so intense.
Also, though they made though the movie made up the part where the Revolutionary Guard attempted to stop the plane they were on from taking off.
Did they?
That did
yes.
actually happen. Probably just dramatic effect.
Yes, dramatic effects.
Yeah.
They and also the kind of airplane they used for showing the Revolutionary Guard chasing, that didn't exist until a few years after those
got
events.
a few things a little mixed up. For creative license, right? That's what they call it.
Yeah.
They kind of just tweak a little bit. They're like, we know it's this airplane, but nobody will give us that airplane. We'll give you this other airplane.
I guess that.
Okay, that's good enough. Only Harrison will notice.
This airplane for free.
Guess that's kind of why. I guess that's one of those reasons why that whole this story is fictional thing still exists, even on movies that are claimed to be based on true stories.
Yeah. No matter how they always fictionalize it a little bit to tell the story.
One of the best parts about Fargo would be come full circle because they start that movie saying based on a true story, which is total BS.
Dishwasher,
and you're like, they can do that.
I know.
And that was the first time that I learned that they can do that.
Yeah, because it's all part of the story.
You are sitting above a freezer.
So, out skiing and taking the trains. First time on the train.
So, any reading yet? It's a good thing.
What's that?
Is the train going?
I don't know. How's the train going so far? Good? It's been okay. Harrison has a whole YouTube channel on trains. And rides them all the time. And
Oh, that explains all the camera work.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know the
So
knowledge
you're
of
working
it.
right now.
Yeah, he's working.
Oh man.
Are you on spring break too?
Yes, I'm also on spring break
Yeah.
from college.
So we are hampering your style just because
You're doing a
we are
documentary.
talking to you.
No, it's all part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, all part of the
As long as
scene.
you know that you're going online with your.
Is Holly going to be in the documentary?
Blah blah blah.
Her voice, absolutely though.
You can dub out anything that you want dubbed out.
This is based on a true story. That's not really
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
How does that work with, so do you get, when you do the YouTube stuff, do you get paid from advertisers or how do you
Yeah,
get paid?
I get paid for ads.
People that subscribe, right?
Yeah, yes, and people that watch my videos.
Watched hours.
Thanks for answering all our burning questions.
You are very welcome.
You brownie?
I'm the brownie.
Team brownie.
Team brownie.
Team butter cake.
That's right.
Team butter cake.
Team brownie.
Team butter cake.
Team brownie.
There's a coffee station over there, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you need a
Coffee
coffee
with
with
the
this?
brownie.
Yeah, I need coffee too.
However, sir, I will give you some before you go. And the reason I say this is because
You have better coffee.
well, it should all be Starbucks, but they are not required to brew anymore after 11 a.m. So if the pot runs
You
empty,
don't want it frantically running up and down the train looking for the
pot
last
runs
drops.
empty after 11, sometimes that'll be it. So,
Oh, well, you're a gentleman and a scholar.
Can you empty out your coffee thing for us then? I want one. You want one. Who else wants one? Do you drink coffee up this time of day?
See what happens now? Now you've opened up the
trust me, I'm not.
Pandora's box. Whoops.
I could just have a half a cup
It's
even.
monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah, all.
Just enough for the
Yum.
brownie. Oh, how is it?
You sound like you've been out here before. Do I got 3? Do I hear 4?
Oh, yes, we got 4. Oh, is there 5?
6? No?
A little coffee. This is kind of
I'm like the Oprah Winfrey of coffee over here.
I'm giving away coffee.
All participants in today's lunch will receive a fabulous cup of to-go coffee.
Do we check under our chairs for our keys to our new car?
Surprised you didn't say you get a coffee, you get a coffee, you get a coffee, everybody gets a coffee.
If you look under your seats, folks, you'll see that you already have reservations for dinner.
Not bad.
You get a coffee. You get a coffee.
We're going to be discussing the menu in this month's book club, folks.
Oh, man.
Make sure you bring your copy. I will be signing them.
Oh, that's a good one.
I don't know if that's true, man.
Thank you.
You get a coffee.
That's right.
These are very
You
good.
get a coffee. You get a coffee. Do you want a coffee?
Yes.
Oh, you get a coffee.
Now I might actually need 6.
Wow, you had a lot of coffee over there.
I
didn't know.
I think that's...
Are you getting a coffee?
Okay.
We can send it.
Would any of the 3 of you then like something else? Maybe another...
Well, this is starting to look for sure like North
Like a
Dakota.
prairies, the prairies.
Yeah. Eastern Montana and western North Dakota start to bleed together. You just imagine millions of buffalo coming over those hills.
How long have you lived in North Dakota?
Well, we grew up in Minnesota, so I went to college in Fargo and 30 years.
What college is there?
I went to Concordia College. It's a little private, liberal arts, Norwegian.
I mean, I went to Colby College, so it's small liberal arts in Maine. Nobody knows it either.
Yeah, it's like Concordia. There's a whole bunch of Concordias that are not related.
Oh.
And I think there's one out in Washington. There might be one down.
They're
kinda
totally
close to
unrelated?
you.
They just happen to
Yeah,
be
not at all related. But they're like
Does
Concordia
Concordia mean
University or something like that.
Does Concordia mean something in particular related to education?
No, I think it's just a Lutheran.
Lutheran war.
Well, it's Latin. I don't even know what it means. Concordia means like, Concordia, like unity or whatever. Concordance, like.
Agreement.
Agreement, yeah. So I don't know. It's
something like that.
A word that the early, I don't know, Anyway, it's not related, so nobody's ever heard of it unless you're from the upper Midwest, maybe. But it's a nice little school. And then North Dakota State University is in Fargo, just across the river. Concordia is on the Minnesota side of the river. With
There
Fargo.
are two sister towns, Fargo Moorhead.
With the Red River.
With the Red River in the middle.
Okay.
The Red River flows north, so it's very odd because it thaws down south and then it starts flowing into the unthawed ice up north as it's going to Winnipeg, and then it floods. Very terrible design.
And it's so flat.
Somebody let the big guy know. That was a bad design. Don't do that anymore.
And it's
Go
so
south.
flat that even a foot of change in crest floods a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of land. No, in Grand.
Even in Fargo,
Grand
because it's south
Fargo.
of, it starts south of Fargo. So we are building a big diversion. The town north of us flooded 20 years ago. They built a diversion. Eventually it goes to Winnipeg, yeah. But Winnipeg, it meets with the Assiniboine River, and then that flows to the Hudson Bay. So the Red River, but the Red River is so weird because it flows north.
Just in general, all the water flowing of the Great Lakes and everything else around that area, to me, is like it's confusing a little bit.
This is going to be a quick stop here.
And,
This is not your final destination.
I mean, the fact that they basically use the Great Lakes, like, I'm like learning about some of the history every so often, and I'm like, they have these huge boats, right?
Oh yeah.
How did those get there? Right? And they went through these rivers. I mean, we have rivers that are big enough to have that all the way.
They dredge them.
So
They dredge them out. Like Mississippi, they actually dredge out them
That's
so they
what I
get these
can't
big
even
ships.
believe, you know?
The St. Lawrence Channel.
Yeah, huge. It has all those locks, and then you gotta go through, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Locks, that's, you know, a story in and of itself, how they move them, but yeah.
Just with travel.
No, but the workboats do that too because they'll do.
But you're saying
In the summer, they'll take their boats to the Great Lakes, like Wisconsin, big shipyards, in
Yeah, it
Wisconsin
makes
for
sense.
repair or whatever.
Makes sense.
And then in the winter, they'll go down to Florida and do whatever they're doing. I mean, they're not international ships, so they don't go around the world. But during the year, they'll make sure they're never in bad weather by going between. And I was like, when we learned that, I'm like, Wisconsin, well, Michigan too, but Wisconsin and Michigan. I mean, Florida, obviously, you go, oh yeah, okay. That's where they go? They go to Wisconsin? It's like, yeah, I mean, when you look at the map, you go, oh, okay, well, but it seems, yeah, you don't think about it. Like, really?
But you're saying also that you can, like, get on, like, a tourist situation where you can say, hey, guys, take me up the river, and whatever.
Yes, and there is
comfortable? Like, they have, like...
No.
I'm not sure, but
I don't think so. We met some captains, and they were like, it gets a little sketchy sometimes because you get on these Russian ships or like these, you don't speak the language, they don't speak your English, and you're like captaining the ship, and you've never been on this ship before, like you don't know these people, like you get on and you're like supposed to take this ship, and you have a whole crew, and it could be 2 days that you're with them.
Right. Wow, that's fascinating.
And it's just you, and like,
So,
don't mess up their ship.
Stay with some rest.
This is Malta.
So, Holly, you might not know this, but I'm just curious. I mean, like the water rights from the Colorado River and all that. A lot of states are involved in that.
Yeah.
Right?
Imagine they use that,
that hardware hang
But
store.
clean all this up.
Imagine if there was an alternate universe where King of the Hill
Would you like me to go talk to them?
What are the options? Yeah, we can go talk to
had
them.
Hank be a hardware salesman and not a propane salesman. Just say, I sell hardware and hardware accessories.
Room at 5, 6:45, and 7:30. I would take a wild guess that I'll go talk to 3 rooms, and then I won't have room at 6:30 or 6:45.
Yeah.
So
let's do 6:45.
I would say 6:45 as well.
Drop it down for all 6 then.
Yeah.
Call it good.
Yeah. What time is it now, though?
Well, in and out, just like that.
You guys meeting at 6:45?
I mean, it was fun. We can do that.
You guys want to do so? That will.
Your 2 tables are full.
That'll fill up all of it. So that's fine with me. I'm okay with that. And then I I have one other question for you folks.
That's a
before I let you go.
wide Mickey.
What rooms are we all traveling in?
D.
Are we?
No. B.
8:30.
8:30B.
Is it B, C,
They have
and
a
D?
Yeah, B, C, and D.
use, you lose.
Y'all going to Fargo, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
B, C, D. We got numbers. You got letters?
See, and then that's how but see, I don't have an issue figuring out who's coach and who's sleeper because I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
B, C, and D, the ones without the bathrooms.
There you go. Fun times. You guys are in the way back. I know that, right? Aren't you?
Yes.
We're 3 and 6.
Terrence, correct?
Yeah.
Beautiful, thanks, sir. Appreciate that. This way I don't come bother you guys here in 25 minutes or whatever.
Awesome.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So make sure you bring them back with you when
Okay.
you come.
You hold them.
And yes,
All right, I'll
please.
hold
And I'll see you folks at 6:45. All right.
Okay.
So wondering if you knew was, it seems to me that this is I don't know where the federal government was at the point of overseeing some of these things, but like it would seem to be an international commerce issue, and Baton Rouge couldn't just universally do that without some sort of agreement. I'm just asking if you know anything about that.
Oh, sorry. For what? For what?
For that bridge.
Oh, the bridge. Yeah, I know. I don't know the history on that real well. Because I know that it was a big above it.
It was a big debate.
It was right on Civil War time. I mean, it was.
So it was like
it was kind of
time.
like. It was right. It was after the Civil War, but it was kind of like friction time, because Natchez and what's above it. There's a big historical
So
city.
it was built in the
I want to say very late 1800s or very early 1900s.
Because there was another town above.
Right, that was very Natchez, I believe it was Natchez, and there's one more very historical town that were kind of critical in the Civil War. And the one, gosh, it's been 5 years and I've already lost my history. I've rattled it up. But
you
the
know a
one
lot of different things. What do you do?
let the Union, I just got off, so they let the Union Army in because the Union Army said that they would, how did that work? No, they didn't let the Union Army in, and they said they would fight, and the Union Army destroyed them, like burned the town down. And then the next town down was Natchez, Louisiana, and Natchez was beautiful, historical playground of the rich for New Orleans. To get out of hot New Orleans, they would sail up the river to this beautiful Natchez, and it had beautiful homes, these beautiful summer homes, and gas lights, and all really gorgeous, right? So when Natchez saw the town above, like, burned to the ground, they were like, we're not gonna fight. You can just use whatever you want, just don't break anything. So then the South was really mad because they're like, really? But it was the only place that was spared in the whole South, and so it's still super beautiful. But they were that was part of also the issue with Baton Rouge saying we're going to stop it before it gets
so you
up to
don't
Natchez.
get anything.
So it's going to stop here.
Are they still a thriving town?
Natchez?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay.
I mean, it's not very big, so it's not like a big hotspot. It's only, I don't know how many people it has. It's probably like 30,000 or something. I don't know. It's not a very big city, but it's very historical, beautiful, and never got burned in the war because they said,
What, this is a controlled burn?
I think it might have been, or else it might have been.
After lunch, I then went back into the lounge car. Although in the distance there seemed to have been some sort of controlled burn with crops going on. We unfortunately had to wait a bit for a freight train, but soon enough, after a couple of minutes, the freight train passed by.
Hello, 5017. I think I may have seen you before.
Our next station stop, however, required a reverse move to get onto the track where the station platform was at before heading into the station. We are in Glasgow. No, not that Glasgow, a different one. In 2018, the Washington Post identified Glasgow, Montana as the geographical middle of nowhere in the continuous United States. Glasgow is also one of those towns that was created when the Great Northern expanded westward.
The middle of nowhere.
Although our next stop on the Empire Builder will be Wolf Point, Montana, for now, this video is at an end, and I'll see you in part 3. Thank you for watching, and until then, sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. Have a good day.